The current market session for IREN Limited on this Thursday, April 23, 2026, shows the stock trading at $47.07, representing a solid intraday gain of 4.21%. While the broader market watches tech giants, the action here is quietly intense, with the stock bouncing between a session low of $46.60 and a high of $48.83. This move comes at a time when the gap between investor expectations and the harsh reality of capital-intensive growth is wider than ever. Most people looking at this ticker right now see a company that has successfully navigated the transition from a pure-play Bitcoin miner into a high-performance computing power. They see a massive deal with Microsoft and a roadmap that looks like a vertical line up. But the reality under the hood is a lot more complicated. While the stock is up today, it's fighting against a massive $6 billion at-the-market equity program that was just expanded. That is a staggering amount of potential dilution for a company with a market cap around $19 billion. The market is effectively telling you that they believe in the AI cloud future, but they are also nervous about who is going to pay for the massive fleet of Nvidia GPUs required to get there. The immediate tension you should be paying attention to is the tug-of-war between institutional accumulation and retail fear. Earlier this week, we saw IREN tumble as the news of that $6 billion share sale program hit the tape. For the smart money, this was viewed as a necessary evil to fund the 150,000 Nvidia GPUs they plan to deploy by the end of 2026. For the retail trader using a Robinhood app or SoFi Invest, it felt like a rug pull. This is the expectation versus reality loop in its purest form. Investors expected a smooth transition into AI revenue. The reality is that building data centers and buying H100s requires a level of cash that usually involves printing new shares. Today's 4% pop suggests that the initial shock of that dilution is wearing off, and the focus is shifting back to the massive $9.7 billion Microsoft contract. When you see a stock like IREN moving with this kind of volume, over 33 million shares traded today against a 35 million average, you know that the self-investing crowd is going toe-to-toe with the algorithms. If you are looking for investment help or searching through various investing sites, you'll notice that IREN is often lumped in with Tesla stock, Apple stock, or Nvidia stock as part of the broader AI trade. But IREN is a different beast entirely. It's an infrastructure play. Unlike the software companies that can scale with minimal physical overhead, IREN has to build. They are currently operating 4 sites in North America powered by 100% renewable energy. The expectation was that their stranded energy model, using excess hydro and solar power, would make them the lowest cost producer in the world. The reality is that while their power costs are indeed low, the capital expenditure to turn a Bitcoin mine into a Tier 3 data center is astronomical. This is why the stock has been a favorite for those using an individual brokerage account at Fidelity or Interactive Brokers who want high beta exposure. You aren't just betting on Bitcoin anymore, you are betting on IREN's ability to become a landlord for the world's most powerful chips. Looking at the institutional activity, we've seen a notable shift. In late 2025 and moving into early 2026, firms like BlackRock and Vanguard have been increasing their stakes. This isn't just about the Bitcoin price holding above $74,000, it's about the $2.3 billion in annualized revenue run rate that IREN is targeting. The market narrative suggests that IREN is a short squeeze candidate, but that's a dangerous expectation to trade on. Short interest has been floating in the high teens, which is enough to cause these violent 4% or 5% intraday swings we are seeing today. If you're managing your own online investment through a Fidelity mobile app or the SoFi trading platform, you have to ask yourself if you're here for the volatility or the long-term infrastructure play. The volatility is real. IREN has a 52-week high of $76.80 and a low of $5.73. That is the kind of range that can make or break an intelligent portfolio. Let's get real about the business model for a second, because this is where the story gets interesting. IREN doesn't just hold Bitcoin, they sell 100% of their mined coins daily. This is a massive departure from the HODL strategy used by competitors like Marathon or Riot. The expectation is that by selling daily, they have better cash flow to fund operations. The reality is that they are still burning through cash because the GPU build-out is so aggressive. They recently hit a capacity of 10 EHS for Bitcoin mining, but the goal is to hit 30 EHS by the end of this year. Simultaneously, they are scaling their AI cloud services, which saw a 21% revenue increase just last month. This is the hybrid cash engine strategy. Use the Bitcoin mining to keep the lights on and the GPU services to drive the valuation multiples higher. If you're using Fidelity Investments or Fidelity Brokerage for your Fidelity IRAs, this is a high-risk, high-reward component that requires constant monitoring of the company's time to energize metrics. The technical setup on the charts right now is a classic bat at the moving averages. After the $6 billion ATM announcement, the stock dropped toward its support levels, but today's recovery shows that buyers are stepping in at the $45 to $47 range. Options activity is also telling a story. We're seeing a lot of call buying for the May 15th expiration, which is right after their next earnings report scheduled for May 13th. The expected move for that period is a massive 22%. This tells you that the market is bracing for a make-or-break moment. Either IREN shows that the Microsoft deal is flowing into the bottom line, or the diversion concerns will take over. If you are using Interactive Broker stock trading or SoFi Active Investing, you need to be looking at the implied volatility. It's currently sitting near 90%, which is incredibly high compared to your standard Fidelity ETFs or Fidelity mutual funds. I want to hear from you on this one. Given the massive $6 million dilution plan, are you still a buyer at these levels, or do you think the AI pivot is just a way to keep the stock price inflated while they print more shares? Comment below how many shares of IREN you currently hold and what your price target is for the end of 2026. Moving into the future outlook, we have to talk about the catalysts. The first is obviously the Bitcoin halving cycle and the continued institutional demand for the asset. If Bitcoin pushes toward $100,000, IREN
IREN's mining operations become a massive cash cow. The second catalyst is the deployment of those 150,000 GPUs. If they can get those online and contracted by late 2026, the revenue shift will be permanent. The third and perhaps most overlooked catalyst is the potential for an acquisition. As the hyperscalers like AWS and Google look for more power-connected land, a company like IREN, which owns its substations and land, becomes a very attractive target. This is the expectation that IREN is building the foundation for the next generation of computing. The reality is that they are in a race against time and interest rates. A protracted interest rate increase or any regulatory pressure on crypto mining power consumption could derail the whole thing. In summary, IREN is currently a study in contradictions. It's a company that just missed earnings expectations but swung to a massive net income of $384 million in the last reported quarter. It's a stock that is being diluted by billions of dollars, but is still being accumulated by the biggest names on Wall Street. Today's price action of $47.07 is a reflection of a market that is trying to price in a future that doesn't exist yet. The gap between the Bitcoin miner expectation and the AI data center reality is where the profit and the risk is found. Whether you are using a Robinhood stock trading account for quick flips or Fidelity Wealth Management for a more structured approach, the key is understanding that IREN is no longer a crypto play, it's a power play. As we wrap up, remember that the moderate buy consensus from analysts with a price target of $70 suggests there is still significant upside, but that target only holds if the reality of their GPU deployment matches the lofty expectations they've set for the market. The volatility we've seen today is just a taste of what's to come as we head toward the May 13th earnings report. Stay focused on the volume and the institutional flow. If you're navigating this through online investing or a SoFi robo-advisor, keep a close eye on the share count. The narrative is strong, the Microsoft deal is huge, and the renewable energy angle is exactly what the green investment world wants to see. But never forget that in this market, reality eventually catches up to expectation, and with a $6 billion shelf registration looming, reality has a very high price tag. The contrast here is stark. You have a company that has successfully built out a massive infrastructure in a very short time, yet they are constantly forced to go back to the well for more capital. If you're looking for investment help, consider that IREN represents the high-stakes side of the digital transition. It lacks the safety of Apple stock or the established dominance of Nvidia stock, but it offers a unique bridge between the world of decentralized finance and centralized AI power. The authority in this trade comes from knowing exactly when the dilution outweighs the growth. Right now, the market is betting on the growth. The $47 level is a psychological line in the sand, as long as it holds the bulls stay in control. But if the reality of those 150,000 GPUs starts to look more like a 2027 or 2028 story instead of a 2026 one, expect that $70 price target to vanish faster than a Bitcoin block reward. Stick to your strategy, use your Fidelity trading platform or Robinhood app tools to set your stops, and stay tuned to the data, because in this sector, the data is the only thing that's real. The disclaimer here is stark. You have a company that has successfully built out a massive infrastructure in a very short time, yet they are constantly forced to go back to the well for more capital. If you're looking for investment help, consider that IREN represents the high-stakes side of the digital transition. It lacks the safety of Apple stock or the established dominance of Nvidia stock, but it offers a unique bridge between the world of decentralized finance and centralized AI power. The authority in this trade comes from knowing exactly when the dilution outweighs the growth. Right now, the market is betting on the growth. The $47 level is a psychological line in the sand, as long as it holds the bulls stay in control. But if the reality of those 150,000 GPUs starts to look more like a 2027 or 2028 story instead of a 2026 one, expect that $70 price target to vanish faster than a Bitcoin block reward. Stick to your strategy, use your Fidelity trading platform or Robinhood app tools to set your stops, and stay tuned to the data, because in this sector, the data is the only thing that's real. The disclaimer here is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Please do your own research before investing. Market involves risk. Like this video, comment your thoughts, share with your friends, subscribe for more updates.